All right. Hey, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Coffee and Cannoli. Short by one person this week, but we still have...
Funny that face. What are you
What?
doing? Keep going. Go. Let it
Go.
play.
I'm keeping this
can't
intro.
stop.
We're joined by Campo and Puttyman. I'm keeping this intro. I'm not cutting it out.
Let it play.
He's got this weird-ass face going.
It looks like you have no neck and your head just comes out of a body. Do it. What are we doing? I forgot.
By the way, this is our top Nintendo 64 games that we've played. We're doing a top 5 episode of N64. So, N64, beloved console, one of the last disc or cartridge-based systems until the Nintendo Switch came along. Home console, not portable. What the hell was that, Campo?
Kind of cough.
It was one of the last cartridge-based consoles until the Nintendo Switch came along, not including the handhelds because obviously you can't take a disc around with you. And on that note, we are going to start with our top 5. Puttyman, I'm going to have you go first.
Hold on. I'm calling an audible on this play.
Sure.
First of all, you absolutely can take a disc with you. It's called a Discman.
But can you play a game on it?
Correct. I stand
corrected.
It's
called the PlayStation 1 that you just connect your... No, it doesn't work. Good.
Moving on.
Moving on.
PSP. Anyway.
Oh, shit. Yes.
Yeah,
it was a mini disc. It was a mini
disc. It's still disc, brother.
And then the PS Vita went back to the cartridge thing.
Mm-hmm. Are we doing another
list?
Yeah,
let's start.
Yeah. All right. So my number 5 is a cap. If you don't know, that means it's a tie. And that is GoldenEye 007 and WCW NWO Revenge.
Am I next?
You are next.
Yeah, you are next.
Okay. Hold on. I want to move myself with Putty so I get to keep the order. So that's my new thing, by the way. So number 5, I capped full marinara all over my pasta. I went with Diddy Kong Racing, which is the superior racing kart game.
Agreed.
And Star Wars Shadow of the Empire. And it just like the amount of hours played of Star Wars Shadows of the Empire, not really because of any other reason except that I had to beat the game and it was ridiculously hard.
I hate you. I totally forgot about Shadows of the Empire. I'm such an idiot. Oh my god, it's got to go on my list now.
Everyone only remembers Rogue Squadron. No one.
I'm capping number 1
because my number 5. I said it before we started recording this. Was I got a lot of caps on this episode, and my number 5 is caps as well. And it's 2 Star Wars games, and it's Shadows of the Empire and Rogue Squadron.
That's my boy. Get out of here, Putty. You hater.
Oh my
Star
god.
Wars fans.
Well, see, the thing is, in my honorable mentions, I have a Star Wars game that I put in a list because I thought you guys would hate me for it. But anyway,
so I had to cap. You have to have Shadows. You have to have Shadows.
I totally forgot.
First game in the Star Wars expanded universe, like that launched the Star Wars expanded universe at the time.
Just the opening level when you have to rope the AT-ATs.
Yes.
Is so insane that like my mind couldn't comprehend what was happening. I'm like, how do they have this in a game?
Yeah, so much fun, and so many hours
until you had to friggin' kill the Wampa. That was so hard. Oh my god!
Anyways. But really, both games had the whole at flying.
Well, the Rogue Squadron was all flying, right? But it did have that where you have to.
But the best is when you unlock that like 55 Cadillac flying through.
Yeah, you do.
The Puttyman.
Okay, so I was actually going to do a triple cap on 4, but then I moved one to honorable mention. Yeah.
Yo, you almost broke a record.
Yeah, seriously. But I didn't do it. Well, don't worry. The next podcast we're going to do is going to be triple cap. Anyway, there is one in there. But for this, I already have it just capped for 2, Diddy Kong Racing and Cruising USA. And this is the one I felt like you guys were going to get mad at me for. I was going to also put Star Wars Episode One Racer on there because I was addicted
to Pod Racer game?
Yeah, because I was addicted to the arcade version, so I was so excited to have an N64, even though it wasn't as good. But I put it in honorable mentions instead of putting it on my list.
There's actually a new version at the arcade of the Pod Racer game, and it's really cool.
I have the PC version still I play.
Really, yeah.
So,
to quote Leonardo, but the Padres seems pretty cool.
Yeah, right. So that would be my number 4.
Perfect.
Okay, so my number 4. WCW NWO Revenge and Conker's Bad for a Day.
Oh, Conker's almost made my list, but it's actually my honorable mention number one.
I'll tell you, I'm not going to explain WCW NWO Revenge because we had an extensive talk about that being mine and Cap's favorite wrestling game. But Conker's, at the time, I was like 11 years old, and the game was like hard R type of stuff, and was just the coolest thing ever. And it had decent platforming.
It did. Rare. Was that Rare?
Yes.
Yeah, that was Rare.
Yeah,
was Rare.
Rare at it, one of its finest.
I have the Rare replay, and it's one of the greatest buys I've ever made.
The only thing is it's edited. It's censored.
Yeah.
It's
not like hard censored, but there is a lot of censoring.
When the Great Mighty Pooh, they
yeah,
censor shit.
Wow.
I am the great and mighty Pooh.
Did you hear this song? This guy's the voice of an angel. He's like Fergie and Jesus.
Wow. Step Brothers reference.
Sticking with the Rare theme, my number 4 is DK64. Okay. DK64 took Donkey Kong literally to a whole new level. That's all I need to say about that. And finding all those bananas was a pain in the ass.
Well, then I already know where Putty's number 1 is going. Go, Putty.
Goldberg.
Okay. Yeah, there we go. So number 3, I actually did not cap it until you guys brought up a game I totally forgot. But number 3 is Super Mario 64 and Star Wars Shadow of the Empire, since I just added on there. I'm not gonna lie, I just added on there. So it had to be in my list.
I can't cap this far up, but had I known that we were gonna cap this whole way, I would have put back my other ones in the list and pushed some up to the top, but I didn't. So this is a kind of cap, but it's not really. So continuing on my theme, my number 3, continuing on the Rare theme, is Banjo-Kazooie and Tooie. I think they come as a package. That's why I'm capsing it. I don't really even consider them 2 separate games. But, I mean, I might as well just put both of them on. I was originally just going to say Kazooie, but I might as well have Tooie on there as well.
No. And once again, I'm sticking with my number 3 on the Rare, and I'm putting a caps on this one too. It's GoldenEye and Perfect Dark.
Oh, Perfect Dark was a great game.
Rare was where it was at.
Yeah.
Rare they was did one really of the good. Best developers in that era. They had the best shooters, the best platformers. Rare could do no wrong until Microsoft bought them out. I'm still waiting on Perfect Dark. Microsoft, when's it coming?
Yeah, right. They did make one later on for, I think it was like one of the PlayStation, or no, it was Xbox, I think.
Xbox 360.
And it was such a bad one.
Perfect Dark Zero or something like that.
So it was so bad. Horrible.
But Perfect Dark took what they did with GoldenEye, and I think improved on it. Like it just flowed better. Like, as I had to put GoldenEye just because of the amount of hours I sank into it. It was something myself and my brothers, we could all play together because it was the co-op. We had the Game Genie, so we unlocked like the Sean Connery, James Bond, and all that. But the game was sloppy, really, if you think about it. It wasn't a perfect game, and the mechanics were fixed for Perfect Dark.
But you know which game was perfect?
Dark.
A dark one. And I agree with you. That was them getting to like the perfection of GoldenEye, because originally they created the engine that they used. Like, I don't know, maybe it was Unreal, I don't know, but the engine they were using, all the design, the base for it was all to make Perfect Dark. But then they got the license for James Bond, and they're like, let us test it by making this game. And but
see, with James Bond, eventually you will lose the license. Whereas if you create your own IP, you can keep going with it, which we're still waiting on.
You got to use a game to test it first and then get it out.
Which probably became one of the best selling and most played games of all time.
The next Perfect Dark is not as good.
No. Buddy, number 2.
Okay, so for number 2, people know there's 2 genres I love in video games, and I love this, and I didn't even like the one before this. My number 2 is The Legend of Zelda: Majora's Mask.
Legend of Zelda? Who the hell is
Zelda? I don't know why I said Zelda. Legend of Zelda. I sometimes have trouble speaking. All right. Ocarina of Time was a good game. It is a great game, but when Majora's Mask came out, it made things scary. It made things spooky, and to see Nintendo go that far was something was exciting. And at the same time, I always liked those type of games, those and fighting games. So Majora's Mask, to see a Zelda game go dark like it did,
That creepy moon that just like
but then it lingered. I was like, there was times because I wanted to beat the proper game properly, but I was like, oh, I want to actually see it fall. I want to see it get closer. You know what I mean? So as it loomed closer, it then started feeling more like, oh, this is creepy. You know what I mean? And even the guy that carries the, I can't think of his name. The guy that carries the mask here, the
Skull
guy,
Kid?
the skull. No, not Skull Kid. The one that was selling the mask. You know what I mean?
Selling the mask.
Yeah. Him himself was just like when I first was introduced to him, I'm like, oh man. This is going to be something.
Oh, what the hell's his name? That stupid guy.
Oh, I know which guy. The little dude in the green jumpsuit.
Yeah. He appears in other games.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know you're talking about, but I can't think of it.
Anyways,
yeah.
We're going to go outside.
Moving on. Campo.
Number 2 for me is Ocarina of Time.
Ocarina?
The orcas. The Orca Arena. Orca Arena of Time.
Isn't that where the Vancouver Canucks play? The Orca Arena?
It should be. That would be a smart name.
Did you say Legend of Zara? Is that what it was?
Legend of Zorro.
Zara. Legend of Zara, the clothing store from Spain.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. That's it.
My number 2 is a Mario game, but not Mario 64. It's actually Paper Mario.
Nice.
I knew one of you was going to have that.
Paper Mario. The concept of Paper Mario was fresh, was new. The last Mario game, I didn't play Mario 64 until later. So the last Mario game I played was Yoshi's Island before that. And that game left a bit of a sour taste in my mouth. Okay. As great as the art direction was in that game, Baby Mario pissed the hell out of me. So when I played Paper Mario, I was like, okay, Mario's good again. And then I went back and I played Mario 64 after that. But that's why Paper Mario is my number 2. Okay. Puttyman, you're number 1.
All right. So my number 1, I just got to create some anticipation anyway. Because of the commercial alone, I can never forget the song of you, me, and you and me. Super Smash Brothers is my number 1. When I found out they were putting all the franchise together in a fighting game, the kid in me literally like weed itself. You know what I mean? I was like, this is world turned upside down. Super Smash Brothers number 1 for me. It was.
Makes sense. And then they use that game, that song again, in the Borderlands 3 commercial.
Yeah, exactly. But that's what I'm saying. When I saw that commercial and then we're all just running around, I'm like, what is this? And then they start fighting and I'm like, okay, I'm still like, what is this? And I saw the clip of it being a fighting game with all Nintendo characters. The child in me flipped out. It was like the crossover.
How did the child get in you?
Yeah, well, you know what? It got into me because of that song, and it just they crawled up and said, you know what? We love this song. We're getting inside.
Anyway, we're not going there. Campo, you're number 1.
Oh, I thought you had like a door or something.
He's like, what's his name? Blaster Master from.
Yeah. There's like a little.
Oh my God, we needed that. I should have.
Putty's like the fake Wizard of Oz, and there's really like a little kid inside him controlling.
Yeah, exactly.
Putty's a mech suit.
Exactly.
The reason I'm so big, it's just a bunch of kids stacked on each other. Like,
Putty's actually Voltron. We just didn't know.
He's the dude from Men in Black with the little alien. And
oh my gosh, that was so good. Why didn't I think of that first? El Dandy.
Okay.
Oh, that's an inside joke now. Anyway, go ahead.
Corey Wilson.
Goldberg. I know. I'm sorry.
Okay, Stacy Keebler. Anyways, the greatest game to ever come out on this console. It paved the way for the entire future of this genre / franchise / console base. It's Mario 64. There's never been a game with the replayability factor other than other Mario games. At least on this console, it's endlessly playable. And as much as you can pick it up and be like, well, I've already beat this, I don't want to play it. Once you play it for a bit, you're like, okay, I'm just going to keep playing it. And it revolutionized movement in an open world because we had never had that. Even the PlayStation hadn't really had stuff like that yet, or the Saturn.
Is that the game that introduced Mario's ground pound move?
Yep.
Yeah. And
like you didn't know.
Sure.
And
we're also sure of ourselves.
And the triple flip.
Yes.
Yep. Woohoo!
Here we go.
And his sound effects.
Remember,
Yes.
I
was
would
that the
spend,
first? Was that the first Charles Masonette?
I think
voice
so.
I
Mario?
think so. Yeah.
Yeah, and remember you would sit hours just in the screen, the beginning screen alone, just tuck it on his nose and like pull out his ears.
Yeah, it's a good game. Go give us your caps.
My caps is number one, and you can't have one without the other. I put both Legend of Zelda games as my number one.
Nice.
Okay, well, we have the Zelda games at the top.
Yes, we all do.
Do you want to do a run through, or you want to just?
Yeah, let's go through a run through again.
Okay, so I got Diddy Kong Racing, Star Wars: Shadows of the Empire, Conkers, the NWO WCW Revenge, Banjo Kazooie and Tooie, Ocarina of Time, and Mario 64.
Mine is 5 GoldenEye 007 with WCW Revenge, Diddy Kong Racing with Cruising USA, Super Mario 64 with Star Wars Shadows of the Empire, then Legend of Zelda Majora's Mask, and Super Smash Brothers.
My number 5 was Shadows and Rogue Squadron as a caps. Number 4 was DK64. Number 3 was tie again of GoldenEye and Perfect Dark. Number 2 was Paper Mario, and number 1 was the 2 Zelda games. Once again, tied. I think, like I said, my caps have to be that way because those 2 games always go hand in hand.
It's like how I was with Banjo's Kazooie and Tooie.
1 and 2.
I feel like it just
the fact that one is a direct sequel, like with Zelda. Ocarina of Time, technically, in a way, is a direct sequel of.
So, it is, and I think in terms of the game and the story, however you want to put it, Majora's Mask is a far better game. It's maybe the best Zelda game ever if you exclude Breath of the Wild. But the amount of time played that I have in Ocarina is mental. I beat the game at least 5 times. And it's just, and I wasn't even a Zelda fan. I'm still not really a Zelda fan. Like, I'll dabble in Zelda, but that game is just so like, it pulls you in. It kind of has that open world feel where you can walk into the stores and do things and stuff like that, and you meet new people, and it has almost a Mario-ish feel to it, but it's
with RPG elements.
Yeah, with RPG elements.
Let's put it this way. This is the best way I can explain it. Majora's Mask did for me something that I never thought I'd go down a rabbit hole of. When I found out of that a thing called creepypastas and everything, I never knew what they were. You know what I mean? But then something caught my eye where one of my YouTubers I watched was doing the one on the Majora's Mask. That right there made me go, I got to find out what this is because it's a part of a game I love. And it's so the game is already so scary. How could you make it even scarier? And that put me down a path where I suddenly became a huge fan of creepypastas just because of that game alone.
Well,
that game alone is just, oh man.
I actually might have been one of the few people that knew before the creepypasta even exists that story of how he's dead. And it's like that whole thing. And I just thought everybody
for a 30-year-old game almost.
Yeah, right. Yeah, exactly.
But I thought everybody knew that. I thought that was a thing. But it's crazy because that also the important part of that game is that is the point where all the timelines branch off from.
Yes.
And
you want to talk about convoluted MCU timelines? The Zelda timeline is so convoluted.
Once you have it all laid out, it's okay. But getting to that point is like, where do I go from here? But if you have it laid out on a paper, like someone shows you on like a graphic, it's like, okay, I get it. He lives here or he dies here. So, and then this is the world of Ganon. What's his name? Ganondorf?
There's Ganon and Ganondorf.
Yeah, there's two different ones.
There's one timeline where Ganondorf doesn't exist. Or Ganon, and then there's the other timeline where it branches off 2 ways. One is where he lives, and one is where he dies.
Yeah.
So
you know how you needed to explain in that meme with Charlie Day where he's smoking a cigarette and he's
pointing at the wall.
Exactly. That's a perfect example of that. And that's what I'm saying. It's the thing is I love Zelda games. Nothing more. I haven't even played Breath of the Wild, and I know a lot of people are shumming for that, but I actually didn't have the console for it. You know what I mean?
I don't have it either. I want to play it.
Yeah, I do too.
I played it.
But that's the whole point.
400 hours.
Yeah. But here's the thing. the only Majora's Mask, actually, in my eyes, isn't the number one. The number one for me would still be from A Link to the Past, just because it did what the original Zelda did and made it better. So I will always put Link to the Past as number one. But of course,
that is still my favorite Zelda game. We can do a Zelda. We can do a Zelda top.
Yeah, and literally Link to the Past would be number one, and number two, Majora's Mask. Like Majora's Mask alone,
I think it's a far superior game. I 100% admit that. But if I would be lying to you to put on a favorites list, if I put Majora's Mask, that would be me blowing smoke up your ass just to have the best game on it, and I don't want to do that. For me, I'm gonna change subjects. Sure. I can't believe Putty didn't have Donkey Kong.
Okay, so here's the thing. I like Donkey Kong 64. It is a great game. It's in my honorable mentions, though. Okay. The problem was when I was making this list, and that's the reason why I'm mad at myself for not having Shadows of the Empire, because all the time I put in that as well. But see, the thing is, I think it's because after Shadows of the Empire came out, they didn't put on Knights of the Old Republic, and that really overshadowed Shadows of the Empire for me immensely. So that's probably why I forgot about it. But what was so different about 64 is you have to remember I also had all the other consoles as well. You know what I mean? So when I was playing 64, I wasn't playing. If there was anything like the fighting games, if they had it on other consoles, I might go over there instead. The reason I didn't put it up there is because I was looking for Donkey Kong Country again, and 64 didn't have that country feel in my eyes. It didn't have the same country feel, and that's kind of where it fell off for me. I loved it, but there were a lot of other games that overshadowed that game. Like, again, Smash Brothers being a fighting game with a bunch of crossovers. Majora's Mask being the most, like, I love scary games and fighting games. Not having those two on my list would have been sacrilege. And then, of course, like you said, I had to have 64. So by that time, I had already overshadowed main titles like Mario 60. Oh no, Mario 64, but Donkey Kong 64, and of course Diddy Kong Racing. Both, Mario Kart. Both of those were not on my list because they had other games that overshadowed it, and that's why. Because I feel Mario 64 is the better, superior game to Donkey Kong 64. So when I had to choose, that's why I chose that one.
That makes sense. I think so.
I mean, they're pretty different.
Yeah.
No, they are, but I'm saying as far as like when I'm thinking in my head as far as like platformers and things of that nature. You know what I mean?
I don't like Donkey Kong 64. We never liked it.
Yeah, okay, I liked it, but
that's what's funny because you like Banjo-Kazooie, and it was in that same vein.
But Banjo-Kazooie was a much more polished version of that.
Yeah,
where
fair enough.
If you go back now and play Donkey Kong, it does not hold up at all.
It's glitchy as hell, yeah.
And it's so convoluted. There's so many collectibles, it gets completely out of hand.
You have to 201% the game, which makes no sense.
Yeah, it gets way out of hand.
And see, Conker's Bad Fur Day is actually my closest. It was actually one I wanted to put on the list. And the thing is it was kind of like the whole thing with Donkey Kong 64. I feel like the platforming is what in my eyes didn't give it. I put on the list. The storyline, the comedy, everything about that game is solid and great in that way. But as far as like if I picked one platformer for my list, of course it's gonna be a Mario 64. Well, so I was trying to not have a lot of platformers on my list as well, too. You know what I mean?
Let's talk about Diddy Kong Racing.
Sure.
Oh my god.
Planes and boats.
I think they took something that was already good, which was Mario Kart 64. When you were playing with your friends at that era of time when that came out, because I think we just got Mario Party. We didn't have Smash Brothers or anything like that yet. But there was two games you automatically went to, Mario Kart and GoldenEye. Always. And then Diddy Kong Racing came out and changed the whole game because it wasn't just car racing. There was flying, there was boat, there was the hovercrafts, and
and that's the reason why in the current Mario race kart games you have different types. Like your car can transform into different types of underwater vehicle, hover vehicles.
But see,
it's funny. Sorry, like Donkey Kong was never a Nintendo property.
Yeah,
and then when Rare, I don't know who bought them. Microsoft maybe.
Microsoft bought them now, yeah.
And then they sold the Donkey Kong to Nintendo, and that's just what happened after that.
Yeah. Well, I just want to say this because another thing that no one's mentioning about Diddy Kong Racing is, in my eyes, it was truly the first open world driving game as well.
Yes,
and the reason I say that,
you could go all over the place.
Yeah, well, not even just that, just literally in the hub. in the hub, I remember so many times I just sit there and just drive around in circles in the hub, just driving around doing all the
It
kind
was
of
a
stuff.
very big hub.
Yeah, and literally like running into the elephant, and he'd be like, "You do want to do this?" I'm like, no, bitch, I'm just driving around. Leave me alone.
It also
like
had
it was
missions.
that good.
It also had missions.
You had to unlock a certain amount of stuff before you can open the next section of the hub.
Exactly. And that's the thing. I was so excited that when I actually opened up the whole hub, I remember just spending hours just driving around, and that's all. No racing. I just wanted to drive around. And it was just such
it's not to take away from like Toad's Turnpike and Rainbow Road because Choco Mountain. That's a great game. I put endless hours into that. But when I really thought of this list, there was 3 games that I was like, I'm not putting them on this list. And it was Mario Kart, just because. And then the GoldenEye, because same reasons that you said. I spent endless hours playing GoldenEye, but if you try to play it now, it's a friggin' terrible game.
Well, that's why it's at 5, yeah.
And so I was like, I can't. I understand why you have it, because I had the same experience with you on it, but I just couldn't have it on my list. And then Paper Mario, because as good as the game was, I didn't play it enough that I felt like it deserves a spot here. But that's a really good game.
Now, there's 2 games in my honorable mention. No one mentioned, if you guys don't mind me mentioning them. One has to be a fighting game because it's my only access to it, and it felt like it was Killer Instinct Gold. Freaking love it. Yep. And then the other one is actually Pokemon Stadium.
I did not like that.
Oh my God. When I was able to bring my Game Boy game over and actually have my Pokemon that I have.
That was far better than Snap.
Yeah.
I remember
was amazing.
They had an event for Snap at the exhibition. And it was like a big crowd, and they were like doing things. And so they were like picking certain people out. You had to answer questions. And at this point, like in Canada, I was like one of the first people that had Pokemon cards because I brought them from the States. I had red and blue, and I just started watching the show. So I knew everything about Pokemon that you could know at this point. They asked questions. I got every single question right. They let me come on stage, and I was the first person in Toronto to get a printout of the pictures. You know how you could go to those stations and print them?
Yeah.
So I have them at home somewhere. I took pictures of like a Charizard and a Pikachu, and then I printed them out.
Nice.
And I was like on a stage and everything. It was pretty cool. But yeah, also another game left off was Smash Brothers. I absolutely hate Smash Brothers. It's a terrible franchise.
Really?
Wow. When it comes to fighting games, it's literally the most button mashing game that ever lived.
I agree. The thing is, I do want to defend this. I'll let you go ahead, then I'll defend it.
But I like the GameCube one.
Okay. I'll just say, I agree.
Smash Brothers has just become this convoluted mess of characters now.
No, I agree. But that's my whole point. We're talking about the OG one. Like, the thing is, I actually had the Wii U version, and I collected the Amiibos, and that's what got me into that one, was the Amiibos. You know what I mean? And to have Sonic and the Melee was amazing. You know what I mean? To finally see Sonic and Mario in a game. But again, it was just something so groundbreaking. And as a fighting fan, even though it does have button mashing, again, it was one of those things. Like, I still to this day, games like Soul Calibur, when they brought in, Link and Hayashi and Spawn, it was a small crossover. But this was one of those things where I got to see all my franchises together. It's me as a fighting fan, I had to have it as number one. Like, I loved that game. I spent so much time in that game that it was crazy. Like,
once again, these lists are subjectives. These are
exactly,
our
and
favorites.
that's why. That's my reasoning, right? Like, but okay, so I have a game. I have 2 games here, and I'm going to say both of them, and I'm not going to let you talk, and then you can talk. Jet Force Gemini and Mischief Makers. Mischief Makers is one of the most underrated games of that entire generation of systems. It's such a cool, but on Nintendo, you didn't have games like that.
No, you didn't. Yeah, very true.
So everyone overlooked it. Nobody played that game. And Jet Force Gemini is a great RPG.
Yes, it is. I think Jet Force Gemini, was that the one where you had to collect those pandas and you can't collect that last panda because it's glitched or something? Yeah.
Well, there's 2 games. One I can name them, which is Pilot Wing 64, which it's not. You go back, you look, it's not a great game, but I felt like it was revolutionary when it came out. And then there was another one that had something to do with like like dump trucks and everything.
Okay, well, I'll tell you right now, I know a game that is, and I love that game because it's on my list. It's Blast Corps.
yes, that's it. Yeah,
That's another rare game which is on Rare Replay. Which also I think Mischief Makers and Jet Force Gemini are also on.
They're all there. Yeah, these are all rare games.
And Blast Corps it's a crazy game because as a kid playing it, I was just driving around blowing things up, not realizing what the point of the game was, and I loved it. But I had no idea what was happening. When I played it on Rare Replay, let me tell you how much more I loved the game when I realized there was like a point to what I was supposed to do. I was like, oh my God. And it's such an underappreciated game because it's like a puzzle game. And at that time, nobody was playing those types of games yet.
No.
And see, that's the thing. I'm a puzzle geek as well too. There's a lot of games which I would love to be able to do a list, which that might be something I do on my end as a list of puzzle games. But a lot of people aren't into puzzle games. But Blast Corps did something different. And the reason I couldn't remember the name was because it didn't stand out to the game itself. Does that make sense? Like it did, but it didn't as far as like you said yourself, the puzzle element. You know what I mean? Like when you see the name, you think.
I think Blast Corp is that's one of those games that if you played it, you loved it and you knew what it was. But if you didn't, you had no idea what it was.
Exactly.
And like it's crazy, they're all rare games. But
yeah,
if we're gonna go early games, which was Blast Corps, and what was the other one you said, Putty? You just said it.
Oh, Pilot Wing 64.
Pilot Wing 64, a game that I played that I must have rented it enough that I could have bought it 3 times. Was Wave Race 64.
Yes. Oh yes, yep, I agree.
At the beginning of the system, because a lot of people don't know this, at the beginning of this console launch, it went like a full year with only like 6 games.
That and 1080 snowboarding.
Yeah, exactly.
And see, that was the competition with PlayStation. Because remember, PlayStation had it wasn't a wave race game, but it was the one where you're on those flying vehicles that kind of like hovered above the water. Yeah, Jetmoto. You had those type of games where it seemed like it was competition, you know what I mean, to get something other. And Wave Race 64 was just addictive, you know what I mean? It was a really great game.
You said Cruising USA. I'll echo that with Cruising World because I think Cruising World is even better. I agree. There's one on here. Oh, there's 2. There's one I know Putty was talking about, but I won't say that yet. But I'm surprised that nobody said Star Fox at all yet.
I guess because I did like Star Fox 64.
I didn't like it.
I did like it, but again, when you look at it, and I was looking back, even looking thinking about my list, I didn't put that much time into that as much as I did the OG Star Fox.
When you go through
Super Nintendo.
When you go through the nostalgia world of video games, people have this gravitas, or like this pull towards gravitas was the wrong word, but this pull towards Star Fox always, and I'm like, I don't get it. I just remember hearing that stupid friggin' frog.
Yeah.
And it was, remember, so, whoa, hey, listen.
That was Zelda.
Yeah, I know, but it's reminiscent of that annoying, like,
do a barrel roll.
Yeah, barrel roll. Do it. And that game could go for hours of you not finishing that part, and he would just keep saying, do a barrel roll.
Yeah.
Do a barrel roll.
But see, like I said, that whole music when you get into a fight, that for the original Super Nintendo one, at least, it was just, again, it was the one time we had something that was 3D before 64 existed. It was
Star Fox is a good idea on paper, but the Super Nintendo one was lightning in a bottle, and they never did it again.
Yeah, that's what they were trying to do 64, and it never worked.
It's so crazy with the ability we have now in games, and we don't have a lot of flying type games, that you wouldn't try to make a new Star Fox.
Star Fox would work, I think, now.
Yeah, 100%.
Oh, yeah, especially with the analog sticks and everything.
If you gave Star Fox to PlayStation or Xbox, I guarantee you would get an amazing game.
Yeah.
I guarantee it.
Well, let me touch on something.
Go.
I was going to say, touching on something that's probably getting a remake. Nobody mentioned Turok.
That was my game. Okay. I can't believe Putty didn't have Turok on his list.
Yeah,
that's Putty's game.
Okay, yeah, we were talking about that before, and see, the thing is, I actually look back because the thing is, I remember so distinctly the T-Rex. That was the main thing, and seeing that and its size, even the other dinosaurs, but just in general. And I knew when if I put it on a list, even I would mention it. But then I actually looked back when we said we were going to do this list, and I was like, "Holy crap, this doesn't hold out well. It doesn't hold. It's like
no,
Duke
it doesn't
Nukem.
Replay. Not at all.
Yeah, and I was like, "Holy crap, why did I like this?" And
is that also rare?
No,
Turok's not rare. No. But yeah, so I that's why I ended up not getting the list because I felt like it was going to get controversy. But yes, when it came out, was addicted to
Dino
it.
Crisis on PlayStation was the better game.
Exactly. And we already had that conversation.
Yeah.
So I
Yeah,
was
we
kind of
did.
like, yeah. So I was kind of like, you know what? I'm just going to go ahead and not even put in my honorable mentions because I feel like you wouldn't even
Fair
bring it
enough.
up. But you did bring it up. So yeah.
That game, though, as far as like advertising and talking about it in like Nintendo Power
Oh,
and
yeah.
like EGM, it had
It
a
was
life. It had a
hyped.
long life. That
Yeah.
game stayed in the demo thing at Blockbusters by my area forever. Turok was always in the demo thing,
And it was always, if you were trying to rent it, it was always gone.
it was always gone.
Well, I was one of those kids that actually owned it, of course. But yeah, it was just one of those things where it was kind of like the whole of Tomb Raider Lara Croft, where I was at that point where I wanted to be scared. That's why Majora Mask again is like the number one in my eyes outside of Smash Brothers. But Turok, Lara Croft, they were based in more realism, scary. Like dinosaurs aren't real, but I felt like Turok had that feel to it. So that's the reason why. But like then, if you even go back and
But
look at
that's
the
like
original
why
Tomb Raider.
I said to you guys, to me as a kid, the game that scared me was Dino Crisis because
No, I agree.
for some reason, like zombies, I didn't find the zombies scary. Like the jumping out of stuff at Resident Evil was scary, but not the zombies.
But do you remember when we talked about that? I put Silent Hill. That's because at that point,
But Silent Hill was different. It wasn't about zombies. It
That was
about
psychological horror.
setting up
But
a
that's
thing.
my point, though. For me,
I love Silent Hill. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
I love the first movie too.
I can watch movies with scary characters and be like, ooh, whatever. But then when you get into my head, it's always going to be that. And Majora's Mask does that way more in my eyes.
Ever in a video game.
Which one? Sorry.
Yeah.
Pyramid Head.
Yes, Pyramid Head.
Oh yeah. But like I said, Majora's Mask is a prime example. I feel like that, not even just visually scary, mentally scary. That game's great because you're sitting there like, oh crap, I've got to hurry up and get this done, or the moon is going to crash, and I've got to start all over. Like that was more mentally scaring and scarring for me at that age.
Well, yeah, because you could lose all your progress.
Exactly. And that's the reason why even with Dino Crisis, I love it. Don't get me wrong. I love those games. But the reason they never get on scary games list for me as much is because I feel like if you can scare yourself more than the game itself can, the game is doing a good job. You know what I mean?
I don't think
you can never get out of your own head.
I don't think that was Turok. I don't think was meant to be a horror game. Was
no,
it?
it wasn't.
But it just had the jumping out type of thing.
Yeah,
the
exactly.
Jump scares, which were
so
all the rage.
that's why I brought up Tomb Raider. It was one of those things where it's realistic, but you still had like, if you remember playing Tomb Raider,
if you were in the caves, it was scary.
That when you hear the lions or tigers, and you're like, oh no, they're around the corner, and you're alone. There's no music playing. It's
the wolves used to jump out at you from like literally nowhere.
I know.
Yes.
But see, that's my whole point. I got used to that, and as I got older, I was like, okay, I need something that's going to scare me more. And when Silent Hill came out, it just changed the world, and that's the reason why again, Majora's Mask was the same way. It changed the way I looked at scary games, and now I look at them totally different. I like psychological horror.
It was kind of like a realistic thing too with Majora's Mask, where it was like the world was ending and you had to stop it, and if you didn't, you were gonna die and lose everything. So it was like you really had like stakes.
Exactly.
The Song of Time. You had to play the Song of Time.
Yeah.
Oh man, yeah. So many times that. Okay, go ahead.
JD, do you have any honorable mentions?
I want to bring up all those Mario sports series: Mario Tennis, Mario Golf.
I love tennis. I love tennis.
Unfortunately, those were purchased from their rentals.
Wasn't I think Mario Tennis was they first introduced Waluigi, wasn't it?
Yes, and I can tell you that system, that specific game, still has some heavy throwdowns at the cottage when it happens.
Really?
When either Mario Party or Mario Tennis comes out, it's like a heavy throwdown. Like it turns into some sort of tournament where everyone's like, there's a lineup of people waiting. Like surprisingly, Mario Party can get pretty competitive.
Yes, it can. That's another one I wanted to touch on was all those Mario. I think the N64 is the system where. Okay, Super Nintendo had the success of something other than a Mario platformer with Mario Kart, but the Nintendo 64 was really what launched Mario into that other realm of like, we can do other things with this. It really made him an icon.
That's when he became fully the mascot of Nintendo. Because Super Nintendo was like, that's when we started to feel it, but on NES, he was not. And Super Nintendo a little bit, but we didn't. Surprisingly, there's not that many Mario games on Super Nintendo, especially for the lifespan that it had. And then
you had Mario Kart.
You
had Mario Kart. It was RPG on this Super.
Yeah, RPG.
Yeah, RPG, Mario Kart, and the two Super Mario Worlds, right? Yeah. And Dr. Mario.
And Yoshi, if you count Yoshi's. But then you got to here and you had all the sports games, the Mario parties, Mario 64,
Mario at the Olympics,
Mario Kart, and Smash Brothers, and he was the face of Smash Brothers. That's what sold everybody on it. Was him and Donkey Kong are on the cover, aren't they?
Finally fighting.
Oh no, all of them. They're all on there because you remember if you look back on the cover, it actually shows a bunch of the characters. Even Pikachu's on the cover.
Yeah, but aren't the two people in the front like looking like they're gonna fight each other? Isn't it Mario?
I think that was
Donkey
more
Kong?
I think that was the magazine ad.
Yeah, you're thinking of the magazine. Yeah,
the magazine ad. It says something about the greatest rematch in history or something like that.
Yeah, because you have to understand. I had that box in my hand a lot. I mean, you got to remember, it's my number one. Like it was one of those things that if I wasn't playing the game, I was staring at the box. You know what I mean?
Yeah, they were advertising it as the greatest rematch in history or something like that. That's what I remember as the magazine ad. Because Mario and Donkey Kong have always had that rivalry.
Okay, well, it has Mario right at the front of it, and then in the bottom corner is Pikachu, and then in the background it shows Star Fox and Metroid.
Yep, so I wasn't even Donkey Kong on there.
Yeah. So there you go.
Well, you weren't right either, Putty. You jerk.
I never said Donkey Kong.
I'll kill you.
I said Pikachu was right in front.
I got a game.
Pikachu.
Harvest Moon.
Yes.
Oh my God, I forgot about that. Yeah, that was a great game. Yep.
Surprisingly a weird game that my brother really liked, and I never understood why. And I played it, and it was pretty good.
It's I think Harvest Moon was very much a precursor to like something like a Stardew Valley.
Valley, and what's the other one that everyone friggin' plays now?
The stupid one.
Oh, you talking about Animal Crossing?
Animal Crossing.
Yep.
Yeah.
This was the game that like set that whole entire genre in motion of building your place.
Farm simulating.
Yeah. Yep. And it's cool. It's a cool game.
It was.
Animal Crossing, it definitely is the superior one in my eyes.
Now, this game is before that. Like the first Animal Crossing wasn't even until GameCube, right?
If you want to see it done right, there was a game on the PlayStation 2 called Dark Cloud.
Oh my God, Dark Cloud is such a great game. You know exactly what I'm talking about. And the house. Okay, I'm not even gonna. But that's a whole
wrong
thing.
system.
Yeah,
we did
wrong
that
system.
episode.
But Dark Cloud.
We should have talked about that.
Go check that out.
Yeah,
great game.
Okay.
We've never done a PlayStation 2 yet, so.
Oh, there you go. I got some more. I have games.
Yeah, go for
San
it.
Francisco Rush.
Yes.
Oh my God, how did I forget about that one? That was.
Then you got to add Ridge Racer 64 to that too.
F-Zero wasn't F-Zero on
F-Zero.
Yeah, F-Zero had one.
There was a lot of racing games when I was looking at it. So I have also another game that I gotta explain this story. I'm gonna give you backstory here. So we hadn't got a new game for a long time on N64. We were playing the PlayStation a lot. We didn't really care. So they started to have deals on N64 where games that no one was buying would go on clearance. So one day we were going to go to my cousin's house, I guess for a birthday party or something. And she brings home for us to bring there to play it was called Micro Machines, I think.
Mm-hmm.
No, not Micro Machines.
No.
Hot Wheels.
Hot Rings, something.
Yeah. So it's like a racing game, but you're like toy cars. But I don't know. You didn't look like you looked like the toy car, but it was like a regular racing game. And we played this game. Like we couldn't stop. It was so addictive. It had so much levels to like a stupid game. Like I don't know how nobody has heard of this. If you ever tell people this, nobody knows what it's called. I gotta look
that up. But it's like a Hot Wheels, like a maybe Matchbox or something.
No, it's called Hot Wheels Hot Ridge or something. Hold on.
Okay. Hot Ridge.
Putty, are you still alive?
Yeah, I'm still alive. I'm actually, because now that we had like the conversation, we're looking stuff up, and I saw two things I wanted to mention. I can't believe I forgot about it. Bomberman 64. I don't know if you guys ever played the 64 version of Bomberman, and I felt like it was actually the superior Bomberman, even compared to the old ones. Like it was just. I
played it on the Saturn a lot.
Yeah, I did like the Saturn one too. Maybe that's the one I'm thinking of.
It was called Hot Wheels Turbo Racing.
Turbo Racing. Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. I gotta look that up.
And then the other thing I saw, where was it at? There was one as I was going through it, and I'm gonna Blast Corpse. I just saw it. And I can't find. Go ahead.
While you do that, I'm gonna bring up something that I didn't own a PC back then just yet. So when I got Doom 64,
yeah,
that's one I sunk a lot of hours in. Was the Doom 64?
I played it on. Was it on Super Nintendo?
There was a Super Nintendo version of Doom.
I played it on Super Nintendo. I never played the N64 one, but yeah. Oh, yeah, because Wolfenstein was on Super Nintendo, and that was this exact same game.
Yep. Same company, ID Software.
Yep. I know I was going to bring up. I wanted to bring this up because there might be people that are reminiscing that remember, and you actually brought it up earlier, John. Was the Hey You Pikachu? All right.
Yeah.
Oh no, you brought Pokemon Snap. I think I'm not sure. But anyway,
No, the other John brought up Pokemon Snap.
Okay, yeah. Well, anyway, the Hey You Pikachu, I did not like, but a lot of people were fans of it. Okay, of Hey You Pikachu.
I have no idea what game that is.
Okay.
That's the one with the microphone.
That's the one with the microphone. The people that were fan of Hey You Pikachu, if you like that game, then I think as an adult, you're gonna like Seaman on Dreamcast way better when you do a Dreamcast list because that's all I gotta say.
Seaman is the worst.
I love Seaman. I loved it. I loved hearing that thing cuss in the middle of the night. I was like, what? It was the weirdest game, but again, well, also at the time I was also doing something else, so it really helped out, benefited on that. But
what?
I was, Gamerpotheads. Anyway,
you were jaying off to the Seaman game. What the?
Well, because
he was partaking in herbal medication.
Yeah, the herbal medication really helped with the game.
Listen, you can't talk about late nights and then say I was doing something else while I was playing that game and not expect me to think.
Oh my gosh!
Especially when a game called Seaman.
Yeah, that's
okay. Good point. Good point. Yeah,
right.
But yeah, if you liked Hey You Pikachu, definitely go pick up that one. I feel it's the superior mic game.
In fairness to this, off topic, but I like to have your opinion on this. So I got on our tier list that we did the Rockstar games. I got shunned on me saying that what's it called? What was the game called? True Crime?
No, it's not True Crime, but
LA Noire.
LA Noire
was not better than Manhunter. Because in Manhunter, you can use the microphone to talk to people because that was revolutionary. But then me bringing up the fact that the graphics and the facial recognition they used to make the graphics in that game was revolutionary at the time, was the first time it had ever been done, was not good enough to beat the stupid microphone in Manhunter.
Whoa. But see, at least I can say this with Manhunt, it's still a better game. Manhunt is still a better game than Hey You Pikachu will ever fucking be.
But it's not a better game than LA Noire.
Oh, I think it is, but yeah.
No, I'm sorry. LA Noire is the superior.
LA Noire, as far as story goes, is one of the best games. I know, they beat me because they tag teamed on me and they pushed me down.
If I were there, I would have been on your side, Campo. LA Noire is the better game, story-wise. Just everything.
Yes, a win!
Nicky, I would think you were there so badly. This would be such a great war.
I don't think I was awake when you recorded that one.
Although that was at like actually 4 a.m. So.
But anyway, that's side project. You can.
I'm sure there was herbal medication in that with you as well, Putty.
With Manhunt, actually, that would have probably made it worse for me, honestly, because you think about how many being on that.
Paranoid.
Oh no, we were explaining it, and I'll tell you this since you weren't there. I actually had my friends mess with me where I'll be sitting there, had the mic on, and I'm trying to be quiet, hiding, and they're like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "You fucked me up. Now they're gonna kill me, man." It was
right.
Moments
you
like
have to
that.
Be quiet in that
game.
Yeah.
So like Hey You Pikachu, if they did that, then I'm like, oh, the mouse heard you. You know what I mean? Like it's not a big deal. You know what I mean? Yeah, Pikachu, whatever. It heard me. Like it's not as big a deal. Yeah. So that's the reason why Manhunt. Yeah.
It's just an egg Pokemon. Frittata is just
I can't remember, but I know I tried it. All I know is I know I bought the game. I bought Hey You Pikachu just because I thought it was revolutionary. And I remember played it like twice and I literally never played again. And they never used the mic for anything.
Actually, Execute evolves into Frittata.
Frittata.
It has two different evolutions. It can become Executor, or if it breaks, it becomes Frittata.
Well, no, think about it. Execute. If you think about it, some eggs are open, some eggs are closed.
Yeah,
right?
so if the ones that break evolve into Frittata.
This really is happening right now. This is a conversation. Like I thought the Manhunt one was bad.
Frittata.
It's good.
I want that Pokemon now.
Yeah, you gotta watch the League, Putty, because when they think someone's stupid, they call them a Frittata.
Okay, yes. All right. I got
Yes. What?
Where'd you get the hot dog? Don't worry about it.
The hot dog. Don't worry about it.
John finally got it. Where'd you get the hot dog? Don't worry about it.
Don't worry about
it. Watch the League. Rafi, the best. Rafi's definitely the best.
But I think we're off
topic here. Nintendo 64. It's a pretty good system. It doesn't hold up.
No, it does not.
I will say this: when it came to their own games and Rare, That's what made N64. The other game companies, I feel like they were way more going over to PlayStation
And their
even
first party
second gen.
games.
Yeah, exactly. Yep. So I mean, again, there wasn't really much. Like I remember there was 2 Mortal Kombat games on there. There wasn't much fighting. I was always going over to Saturn and all that because the fighting games are much better over there. So
Yeah, they had the Mortal Kombat. I think they had Trilogy and 4 on the.
Yep, they had Trilogy and 4, and 4. I don't even want to talk about that. Mortal Kombat
No,
4
but I think the N64 version of Trilogy was the only one with the female chameleon,
well
wasn't it?
Way.
Mm-hmm. Yep. What? Huh?
Not you.
Hi, how's it going? Hey, how's it going back there? I'm cool. All right, bye.
Just
Back to Superman over here.
maybe the worst controller of all time.
Yes.
Yes.
Going with
I
the
agree.
third leg and the. And how many blister burns on your hand trying to rotate that stupid thing in Mario Party?
Buddy, you get into a nice game of Mario Party and you're not keeping your fingers.
It was exercise for another thing that you did as a teenager.
See, it all comes back to this. It all comes back to this.
We could do an episode on the best controllers ever. So
let's just put it this way: you think N64 was that innocent? No.
No.
All right. Well, we should end this because he has about 4 hours of exporting that he's going to have to do right now.
Yeah, it shouldn't take very long. I got a good graphics card on here, so we're okay.
Your graphics card.
I wish I were. I could sell myself for some extra cash.
Yeah, you can.
Is that it for the cannolis and the granolas? I'm sorry,
Cannolis and granola podcast.
JD, I'm sorry, brother. I messed that all up. I'm so sorry.
You're fired. Or as Vince McMahon would say, "You're fired."
You're fired.
Where'd you get that hot dog?
Wait, what?
About it. Anyway, on that note, folks, thanks again for joining us, and we'll see you next time.
Peace.